All right, good evening, everyone. It is 7 p.m. and I will call to order the Dumfries Town Council work session. All right. Item number one on the agenda is presentation and update from our Director of Public Works, Mr. James Nichols.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
First, we should start with the roll call. Let's do that first.
But I can't hear on my side.
Madam Clerk?
I can't hear on my side. What do I need to
Councilmember
do?
Peterson,
Present.
No, I can't hear.
Councilmember Pete,
Here.
Councilmember Fields,
Yeah, I can't hear anything
Councilmember Young,
Here.
on my
Chair Pro
tablet.
Tem Miles,
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
I'm here.
Mayor Wood.
Is traveling.
My microphone, yes.
Okay, now
I
that
can hear
we know
anything.
who's here, we can move into Mr. Nichols' presentation.
Okay.
Council audience, Public Works was asked to do a follow-up on some requests from the work group as far as the maintenance items being done by Public Works. We'll run through some of the items that we've done, showing before and after pictures. And at the end, we have a brief update on future activities that we're looking at doing in terms of improving the facilities. So essentially, we completed repairs on the removal of the utility shed. We addressed the roofing issues that were there on all of the facilities. We also addressed the bathroom, which was in serious decay in the annex building. And we're currently working on the electrical panel upgrades, and we're waiting on Dominion to provide us a follow-up on that. We've looked at some of the seasonal activities that need to be done. We've completed the fall or the spring this year. We've gone into the fall season. We've done all of that. And we're looking at the spring of next year with the additional work that we'll be doing on a routine basis. Here's the before of the old shed that was out there. It was really dilapidated and really falling apart, as you can see. The picture to the right is when the removal was underway and being completed. The roof tops on the buildings had serious wear, tear, mold, as well as some rust spots. We went through, did a coating on the roof, the same that we did on the police station. And here's your after photos of all of the facilities here. The restroom, as you can see to the eye, naked eye looking at it, it looks like it's okay. But when you walked on that floor, it was seriously decayed. As you can see on the third picture there, all of that was rotten. It was from a active ongoing leak that had been there for quite some time. So we took out everything in the bathroom, floor joist and all, reframed everything, sturdied the walls, and started replacing the flooring and walls. Here's the after photos, new urinals, new sink vanity, floors. On the museum, the access door on the side of the building had severe decay and rot. We replaced the entire frame, put in new doors, keys, and locks for that. The electrical panel replacement, being that this is the primary service for the building, we had to coordinate through Dominion Energy to get a lot of this done. Even though it's a very small project for them, we had to go through a lot of checks and balances to make sure it was done in accordance with their standards. So right now we have all of the panels in place, but we're waiting on Dominion to come in and run the lines that they have to, and we could complete this project. Here's a list of some of the seasonal activities that we've done this fall. We did a lot of vegetation cutbacks. We did a lot of deadwood removal on the trees. We're looking to go ahead and pressure wash the surfaces out there. Planting flowers, which was completed today as far as fall flowers. Aerated, overseed, and winterized the turf in the park, as well as some of the other parks. Spring activities, will be more of the same, really trying to give it a fresh look and opening for the spring. Additional accomplishments that we've done that were not in that original list, we've upgraded the lights in the restrooms to LED. We're looking to update the park signage, is on order. We hadn't gotten that in yet. And some minor repairs on the gutter of the annex building, that was completed as well over the past week. Looking forward, we've outlined a number of projects that we'd like to pursue as money becomes available. It's a total of $105,000 based on scoping numbers. We're looking to pressure wash and paint the structures, replace the handrails, the ADA access and the porches on all of the facilities. Looking at sealing the concrete and on the structures out there to make those preserve and last longer. The concession stand upgrades was looking at the stove and other utilities that are in there, trying to get those upgraded, as well as making sure that it has the proper service that it needs. The repairing the wood decks and posts and joints on the museum, that we have to look at as far as the ADA standards, making sure it meets and move forward. And of course, we built in a contingency based on material prices and things of that nature. So we're looking at the 105 as a scoping number. If there's no questions, I'll be turning it over to Ray Vines for his presentation on the recreation side.
Councilman Peake?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Nichols, for the presentation. Did I hit it right that time? There you go. Okay, so looking at the door replacements here, right? I did hear that you guys not only just replaced the door, but the entire frame itself.
Yes,
but I'm looking to it being in the former construction world, right? I'm looking to the offset of the door there on the siding there. And I see a lot of rotting and looks like we're moving into wood decay there around the door edges. And then also, where's the on the diagram of the electric panel upgrade? As I open this up and I look, take a deeper look into it, I see that there's more siding, wood rotting, and look like we're moving into decay. And then also that what is that? A shutter down there on the electrical panel upgrade diagram. We on just after the door
Bring
replacement,
it back up.
where it says electrical panel.
Could we bring that back up, Evan?
Right there, down there at the under the window there, it looks like a shutter or something down
It's
there.
a crawl space.
A crawl space. Will that be getting my question to the three of those references? Will those are we taking into consideration and replacing that also and upgrading that, because it look like we're a little past weather and water damage there as far as the wooding is.
There's a number of things that still need to be done. What we were looking at was prioritizing based on access as far as safety, security, things of that nature. It's an ongoing endeavor. A lot of this work has been deferred for quite some time. So we are looking at progressing along with that. As we look to freshen up in the summer, hopefully with the painting, we'll look at some of the siding and stuff that needs to be replaced, but we're still trying to maintain that historic look to it.
Right, correct.
So we don't want to overdo some of the corrections that we're doing. If we're able to patch and seal, we'll go that route versus full replacement.
Sounds
But that'll go along the way. The door that you're talking about, this one here, the complete jamb was replaced, including the the outside framing. So all of that was replaced on that door. Interior as well, the trim.
Okay, sounds good. And then my last one is when you was mentioning of the floor bending and whelping and things like that as you guys are walking on there, do we have any other concerns of that possibly happening anywhere else within the building?
As far as I know, no. This was the main area where water was feeding into the building, but we do plan on doing some sort of a structural assessment later on as more funds become available to address any possibilities of issues with termites or possible rot.
Again, thank you for the presentation, Vice Mayor. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Councilman Reed. I have a question, Mr. Nichols. As the landlord for this property, do we have a regular maintenance schedule with regard to inspections? And I ask this because, having grown up in rental properties, I know that there are expectations on the tenant that when the property needs to be repaired, the expectation on the tenant is that you bring it to the property manager's attention before a problem worsens.
Yeah.
If the problem worsens too far gone, then the responsibility on the tenant, there's the expectation that you let someone know before it gets too far gone. But there's equal responsibility on the property owner to perform some sort of regular inspections, because you too have a responsibility to make sure that things don't get too far gone. So what type of inspection schedule or maintenance schedule do we have, or will we establish one moving forward?
Okay. We have several different ones that we're looking at. We look at the exterior grounds on a periodic basis. We've implemented the playground inspections, which is an annual safety inspection. We did the first one this year that I'm aware of under my tenure, and we plan on doing that annually. This year, we addressed entanglement issues, fall hazard, the issues with the borders around it. So that's an ongoing process that's in place. The general inspection of the park is being done by both Public Works as well as Recreation. We're doing basically weekly looks at the park to make sure that there's no just typical safety maintenance type things done. The maintenance routine is now being enforced where we're doing the cutting on a routine basis. And as far as the facilities themselves, now that we do have access to the buildings, that's also being done on a routine basis. Right now, we're looking at monthly until we could really get things under control. So right now, I can't really say what went on prior to me, but since I've been here and a lot of the issues started surfacing back in February, we have been working towards coming up with a more defined schedule and plan to address some of the deferred maintenance, as well as looking at going forward with normal upkeep and HERE standards. So yes, it is in place. We need to still document out some of it, but we're doing more triage right now versus the other side of proactive maintenance.
Have we encountered any instances where there were items or areas beyond disrepair?
Well, for example, the restroom was one where that leak had existed for quite some time. There were layers of floor in there, so you really couldn't hear the water issue until we opened it up. And as soon as we opened the floor, it was an obvious hissing where the water was spraying onto the joists. We did not receive any bills or anything for that to show that the water had increased. So we really had no knowledge of it, that what was going on, but there was evidence on the concrete footings to look at it and say that there was mold accumulating on that. Prior to my tenure, I'm not sure of the exchanges, but again, I'm looking at it more as a proactive stance, getting in, approaching, and addressing the issues.
Thank you. Were there any other questions, council? All right, thank you, Mr. Nichols.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we can move on to the next presentation from our Director of Recreation and Civic Engagement and Tourism, Mr. Ray Vines. I was pulling out your whole government name. Say mine.
So Vice Chair, Chair Pro, Council members, Town Manager, and guests, good evening. The Recreation, Civic Engagement, and Tourism Department would like to provide a brief overview presentation of a potential plan to transition Merchant Park to the town. So the presentation will include transition objectives, roles and responsibilities, benefits to the citizens, proposed transition timeline with phases, and then an actual review of those phases. And so under the listing of the transition objectives, we want to ensure the smooth and legally compliant transfer of operations, assets, and programs. We would like to preserve the historical and cultural integrity of Wiensbach Museum and the grounds and enhance facility structural needs and safety. We'd like to strengthen tourism and cultural programming through town oversight, enhance operations and program quality, and maximize citizen benefit by integrating history, recreation, and civic engagement and tourism. As far as roles and responsibilities, these are the roles that each department within the town would play in the process of the transition. So the town manager's office would oversee the transition execution. The town attorney would provide legal and compliance reviews. Recreation, civic engagement, and tourism would supervise the transition coordination and operations. Public Works would do facility grounds maintenance and repairs. And then the public PIO would do public outreach and promotions. So benefits to our citizens, we have two categories there under amenities, civic engagement, and programming. There'd be improved access to amenities and programming transparency, enhanced volunteer and community engagement opportunities, expanded diverse programming opportunities for the public to enjoy, and enhanced tourism visibility and opportunities. Under operations and maintenance and management, we'd have regular upkeep and maintenance of park amenities and buildings, heritage preservation with reliable funding, and then department town staff to provide enhanced customer service. So looking at the proposed timeline, we have 3 phases, and each of those phases have a time period associated with them. So in phase 1 would be the transition planning and execution, which would be a 12-week period from November of 2025 to January of 2026. Phase 2 would be the post-transition staffing and operational integration, which would be a 5-week period from December of 2025 to January of 2026. And then phase 3 would be ongoing operations, public relaunch, and programs delivery, which would be an 8-week timeline from February of 2026 to around April of 2026. So in phase 1, with transition planning and execution, staff broke down basically to-do list from an administrative perspective and then from a facility preparers perspective. And so on the administrative side, notification to HDVI was done in August, and then notification to stakeholders and the issuing of the public statement was done in September. Those last 3 bullet points would be done in November, pending everything going through. And so the administrative to-do list would be from November of 2025 to January of 2026. Under the facility repairs, Mr. Nichols provided a great overview of all of those items that have been done. In relation to the chart that's in front of you, the last 3 items, which is the annex roof fascia board repair, the fall landscape spruce up, and the public restrooms LED lighting install. All the 3 of those were done this week, as Mr. Nichols mentioned, so those will be checked off and completed. Under phase 2, post-transition staffing and operational integration from December of 2025 to January of 2026, we would recruit and hire a full-time staff person to manage the facility, provide town orientation to existing and to new town volunteers, integrate operations and maintenance into future budgets, and rebrand the department to include tourism. In phase 3, ongoing operations, public relaunch, and programs delivery from February of 2026 to April of 2026, we would host community launch events with tours and activities, integrate museum programs with town events, and work with HDVI, other historic resources, groups, and organizations to introduce new and enhanced heritage tours, civic programs, and opportunities for the public. So that concludes my presentation. If there are any questions.
Councilman Pete.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mr. James, Mr. Ray, and town manager and staff, I want to tell you guys, thank you very much for the hard work that you put in getting this prepared and ready in the short amount of time that you had to do this, and the upgrades that were brought forth to not only take care of the building, but to put our citizens in a place where somewhere that they can enjoy and that they can be pleased with a part of the upgrades that we are doing around the town. And, it looks nice, and again, town manager and staff, magic behind the curtain, as the vice mayor always says. I want to say thank you guys for putting in this work. It looks good. And if we can work with the existing staff and new volunteers moving forward, I see we moving in a great direction. Again, thank you all for who participated.
Thank you, Councilman Pete. Mr. Vines, I have a quick question for you. Looking at the phase 1 planning for the transition and execution, on here we talk about the document, artifact condition and custody. Is there a cost associated with that? And if there is that cost a part of the scope and numbers for the future HDVI improvements, which are already planned to the tune of $106,000?
So cost-wise there, the staff member that we hire can handle some of that, plus the volunteers. And so sometimes there can be some administrative costs associated with it. It depends on if you get a digital system or if you're using a manual system. From what I've seen, that there's a lot of paper records, if I'm not mistaken. And so we do need to scope that, but your full-time staff member and volunteers can be a part of that process.
So, okay, let me restate my question. So we have already in Mr. Nichols' presentation, there is a plan for future HDVI improvements to the tune of approximately $106,000. So what you're talking about is not included in that $106,000, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am, correct. That's correct. It's not included.
It is not included?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so what you're talking about then is a staff position?
Correct.
Okay.
And that staff position would help with that phase. So they would actually work with volunteers and be a part of the process of conducting phase 1 and doing those activities.
Okay, thank you. Were there any other questions from the dais, from council? Okay. Thank you. All right, next up, we have presentation and update from the president of Historic Dumfries, Ms. Christy Backlow.
Hi, thank you for having us tonight, and we're hoping that we can get a lot of questions answered. So first of all, I wanted to put up there our mission statement for Historic Dumfries. We have been in existence since 1974 when we started Historic Dumfries, and we were able to start the William Spotts Museum. But let me tell you a little bit about what's happened in the last 2.5 years, because I know that you guys, many of you have only been here maybe 4 or 5 years. In the past 2.5 years, our executive director got promoted to a position at Monticello, and we hired Abigail. And then our president passed away. Many of you knew him, Brett Colson. He passed away unexpectedly, and Patrick took over temporarily as president, and then I became president. And I became president in February temporarily until I was officially voted in June. So we've had a lot of turnover, but I plan to stay. I don't plan to leave. Right now, we currently have a very, very involved board. HDVI, half of the board has master's degrees. Most of us are either business owners or professionals in the community. We have an author. Jim Bish wrote the book, Cannot Tell a Lie, all about Dumfries. We have, like I said, teachers. We have a lawyer. And Jeremiah, you guys all know Jeremiah. He's a business owner in town. So we are highly committed to the town. We also have a direct descendant of a Dumfries patriot who fought in the Revolutionary War, Gwen Washington, whose family has been here since the 1700s. And our executive director is a relative, a descendant of one of the Weems. So we have a huge connection and a huge love for Dumfries. Okay, so it all started in 1974, and there's a picture of the lease from 1974. And a lot of things are the same from 1974. The big one is the dollar. That's how much we pay in rent per year to the town of Dumfries, $1. And believe it or not, that was Mr. Porter's idea back in 1974 to charge us just $1, and we've been paying that dollar for 50 years now. The one thing I want you to look at on this lease, though, in these pictures, the picture on the left is what the house looked like when we first purchased it. And that was 1974. And you can see on the rental agreement that HDBI was responsible for turning it into a museum. That meant loads of fundraising, grant writing, donations. All of that was done by HDBI to be able to turn this into a real museum. And if you look at the picture on the right, doesn't that remind you of the picture from last week when you guys were doing the key ceremony? That's all those people were there to celebrate the opening of the William Botts Museum, and that was for the bicentennial. And it was a big deal for our community to have our own museum celebrating the history of Dumfries. And like I said, a lot of that money was raised by HDBI in order to have that museum. Now, over the course of time, that rental agreement was changed into a franchise ordinance. There are law offices that were involved. Even the Attorney General's office was involved to help with that franchise ordinance. In 1981, the town council wanted to turn it into a 40-year agreement. And actually, it was Historic Dumfries that didn't want that 40-year. So it went on for 5-year rentals, 1-year rentals. And then finally in 1998 is when it became a 40-year ordinance. In 1998 is when the annex was purchased. And the idea was that the annex was going to be purchased, and HDBI paid $20,000 towards the purchase price of $68,000. And then the town owned the house. We were supposed to pay it back in 3 years so that HDBI would own the entire house. But in 2002, the franchise ordinance was rewritten that the Lockett House, which we call the annex, was to just be owned by the town of Dumfries. So the town of Dumfries now owns the Lockett House, and HDBI had the permission to tear it down, and anything we replaced it with, we would be responsible for. But as you can see, it was never torn down. So the town of Dumfries still owns it. We still rent it for $1. And we paid our rent this year, and you guys cashed our check. So that's the amended ordinance. So let's look towards the future. So we've done a lot. Some of our strengths, we have redone the annex and the display case in the museum. If you haven't seen it, I really encourage you to come over and take a look. We include Native Americans, the European settlers from Scotland and England, and African Americans in our tours. The nice thing with us being a small museum, we can focus our tours on our group, whoever the group, our audience really. If it's a group of kids, we can talk about fun kid things that they want to know about. If it's a group of adults, historians, we can talk more of the history. I've had college students come in because they're required to go to a museum for their class, and they're choosing a small museum on purpose so that they can really get a good feel for a small museum. We have volunteers of differing abilities. We have students from Potomac High School who come over. They come every other week, and they're in a program that is helping them to learn to do jobs in the community. For us, a lot of times they'll rake, they'll wash windows, they'll vacuum, they'll sort things out for us. So they do pretty much anything that we ask of them, and their teachers are right there to help them. And then we also have volunteers who are very interested in like the display cases or the archives, putting everything into the archives, typing up all those letters that we have. We have lots of letters up in the archives, and they like to type them up and put them into our software. That is a huge job of typing and photographing items in our collection. Our tours are affordable. They are $5 for students and seniors, $7 for adults. You do not have to be a member in order to go into the museum. In fact, if you really can't afford the $5, we will let you go in. Being a member is just little perks, just like if you were a member of Mount Vernon or a member of the Smithsonian, you could be a member of Historic Dumfries. Park rental is $270 to rent the park for the whole day, and it's free for nonprofits. Some things we need to improve on: the handicapped, our signage. I'd love to have it some in Spanish, and we've already talked about the consistency of the maintenance and inspection by the town. And we would love for you guys to come visit us. I know a lot of you have never even been to the Weems-Butts Museum, and you're being asked to make this decision tonight. And I encourage you to come visit us, take a tour. Don't just walk through the park, take a tour. So interesting thing about the park. HDBI has managed the park since 1975. If you look at that old franchise ordinance or the old rental agreement, we've managed it since 1975. We make about $1,500 a year renting it out. Of course, nonprofits don't pay for the park. In the park, the Kiwanis Club built the pavilion in 1986, and then they built the playground in 2018. So it's owned by both of us. The playground and the pavilion are owned by HDBI and the town of Dumfries, which makes it a little sticky, but we've always been able to make it work out. The gazebo was built by the town. The base was built in 1978, and the roof was built in 1979. All right, some great programming we've had. Our tours, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We have a research library. We have 6 classes signed up so far for field trips. We've had Boy Scout merit badges, Girl Scout badges. Ghost tours, we've had nearly 80 people attend ghost tours this month. Workshops, we have a spinning wheel workshop coming up in November. We have a wreath making workshop coming up in December. And we'll have Ukrainian egg workshop for Easter. So we have lots of fun workshops that people are interested in attending. We have children's programs, lots of volunteer opportunities. We have many volunteers who call just about every day, and the high school kids call in the springtime because they're desperate for service hours. Lots of celebrations: Charter Day, Prince William Resolves, Cherry Blossom Festival, the free book exchange, and what is not on here, America 250, because we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of America. Dumfries was so important to that. So we have starting to make those plans to have a celebration in May in Merchant Park, which will have school groups performing. We'll have different tents and displays and lots of tours and lots to talk about how Dumfries was important to the history of the United States. So what do we want? We want to keep that franchise ordinance the same. And you can see it's still good. It's still good until 2038. And that's what we'd like. And these are the questions that we have for you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Oh, okay. Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Sparklow?
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment. Ms. Barlow, I would like to thank you for your presentation. I think it was very instrumental. I think getting the historical background on the relationship between the town and historic Dumfries was very key. I do appreciate you taking the time to do so. I also appreciate you outlining some of the struggles, not even just the struggles, but the experience that has been running that board for the last couple of years. And, certainly, it provides insight and provides some context to certain things. So it definitely adds some more context. And and I'm glad you guys are here tonight because we wanted better communication. And I think that was what was needed.
Yes.
So it definitely, gives us more information to consider. So thank you.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I actually echo Pro Tem's sentiments. You did provide us some good information. If you would give me just a moment, please, I'd like to call Mr. Ray Vines back up to the podium. I need to ask him a question. And then when he's done, if you wouldn't mind coming back
course,
up
yes.
to the podium. Thank you very much. Mr. Vines, can you please tell me how much it costs to rent Ginn and Garrison Parks?
I cannot from my memory, but I do believe the way our fee matrix works is that it is based on the size of the event. And so depending on what the size of the rental group is, determines the actual rental fee. There is a deposit included in that, but I can retrieve that information fairly quickly. And deposit plus the rental fee, and we do not allow nonprofits. Nonprofits have to pay under our fee structure, but I can get that rental information for you fairly quickly.
Okay, if you would please retrieve that information, I'm interested to know. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Barclow, I apologize. So you mentioned that the cost to rent Merchant Park is $270. I've rented the park in the past, and I know that in 21, 22, and 23, the rental for the park was $500 unless you paid a $50 membership fee annually. If you paid the $50 membership fee, then that brought the park rental down to $250, and regardless of your membership status or not, you paid the $100 for the deposit, which was refundable provided you clean up the park, and then you had the option for the $100 kitchen rental to be included. So, but you said today that the park rental is $270. When did that change?
Yes.
Now, I did not rent the park in 25, so please tell me, when did that change?
So that changed last summer. More like 18 months ago.
Okay.
And that changed. And the big change was the concession kitchen. We did not feel, the board felt that we could not stomach charging people $100 for that concession kitchen. It needs to be repaired. And we felt that it should be just included. So we made it $270. $20 is the membership fee for an individual. $50 is for a family. 30 for a family. Yeah, I don't know where the 50 came from because it's never been 50.
Oh, that's what I paid.
So you paid, yeah.
Yeah, it's an individual.
An individual should have been 20. I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know who was doing it at the time. But yeah, $20 to be a member. And then you can rent it was like you could rent it for half price. But we were like, that just was too confusing to people. So we were like, let's just make it $270. If the person's already a member, we just take the $20 off. And then include the kitchen because like I said, the kitchen, it's not in that great a shape. It's almost embarrassing to charge people $100 to rent that. The history of that kitchen, I tried to find who built that kitchen. We believe it was DTQ Little League because they used to use the baseball fields right there in Dumfries Elementary School, and then that would have been their concession stand. But now the Little League is over in Montclair, and so the concession stand is still there. It needs to be repaired. I mean, the refrigerator works, which is great for field trips because we tell the field trips, oh, you can use the pavilion for your lunches and you can put lunches in the refrigerator. But to charge people for it, it didn't seem right.
So for clarification, the $270 includes, is that the price if you are a member?
No, it's for anybody.
So regardless of your membership status, $270 is the flat rate to rent the park now.
Yes.
And that is as of the past 18 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Abby takes the reservations and nobody has paid more than $270. No.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know because until it was $270, $500 seemed a little high.
Yeah.
Actually, it seemed very high, in my opinion, compared to the neighboring parks here within the town. So that's really good to know.
And I think when you look at the town's prices, you'll see that $500 is the price for when it's over $100. I think it's, where'd he go? Yeah, you guys do charge 500, but I think it's when you have 100 people or more. It's very expensive. And like I said, we don't charge nonprofits. So like when the Kiwanis Club wanted to come do their end of the year picnic, and they always come every year, stain, replace, paint. And when they had gotten the message that, oh, you have to go through the town now to reserve the park. And when they called the town's like, oh no, you have to pay. And they're like, but we built the pavilion and we built the playground. And, whoever from the town they spoke with said, no, you have to pay.
Well, I think that I think it's best that we not speak about third-hand conversations in this moment.
Okay.
So we should move on unless there's other, Councilman Fields, you have a question?
It may come out to be a question, but a statement or comment. Great presentation.
Thank you.
As you know, we always love your presentation. I did get your email. I was out of town.
Okay.
Long day at work yesterday. Sorry I didn't get a chance to call you back.
Not a problem.
But at the end of the presentation here, the questions, I believe a lot of these questions may have been answered.
I think so too, yeah.
With the presentation from Mr. Nichols and Mr. Vines, and all that included up in there. And I would say with both presentations, isn't this not what we all want? Something nice?
Yeah. And we work for free. The only person who gets paid is Abby. And she's paid by Historic Dumfries, not by the town of Dumfries. And then the rest of us all work for free because we love Dumfries.
Okay, thank you. Madam Town Manager, you had a comment?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me? I will send a message. If you can't hear me, I will send a message.
Can't hear you yet?
You can check your phone.
Oh, you're gonna call my phone and then we'll, oh, okay. Oh, she's calling my phone. Okay, I'm going to answer on speakerphone. Okay, you're on speakerphone.
I sincerely apologize. I thought my mic was working. I just heard a reference in the presentation that the town council was making a decision this evening. I just wanted to go on record that this is not an evening for a decision to be made, but rather an evening for us to receive information, have answers, questions and answers addressed from both parties so that y'all can
make an informed decision in the future. So I just want to make sure I go on record and elaborate. There will not be any decisions made in this work session, and I apologize for my mic not working, ma'am.
All right, thank you for that. Was there anything else?
No, not at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Mr. Vines, did you acquire that information?
So our rental fee consists of a permit fee and then a deposit. So for an event this size of 50 people or less, it's $100 for the permit fee and it's $100 for the deposit. If it is a medium-sized event of 50 to 100 people, it's $300 for the permit fee and then $500 for the deposit. If it is a group larger than 100 people, it is $600 for the permit fee and then it's $5,000 for the actual deposit. And I have copies of the document if council wishes to see those.
And when the deposits are refundable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Were there any other questions from the dais? All right, seeing that there are no more questions from the dais, and we have gone through the presentations, we have concluded our work session, and this meeting is adjourned. Good night.